Hello, Namaste students. Stay indoors, stay safe, use the time effectively because the lockdown will soon end and we will all be in school. Hence, follow the teaching and complete the notes. Stay updated. Please look on the screen. What do you find, children? Today is a great day to learn something new. Yeah. What shall we learn new in English? It's the second lesson from the book Flamingo. I hope you have the copy of the text with you. I want you all to turn to page 16. What lesson do you find there? Yes, Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. Nelson Mandela is South Africa's first black president. You know, children, South Africa was independent in the year 1960 itself. But unfortunately, there was a system called apartheid, that is separation. Separation in the sense it's a political system that separates people according to their race. Or otherwise you can call it as racial discrimination also. That is, white South Africans were dominating over black South Africans. And for this system to get over, it took years and years together, and finally in 1994, the blacks won their rights. South Africa got this democracy in 1994, and this long walk to freedom is actually an autobiography. Do you know what an autobiography, children? Let me give you a cue. Biography means writing the story of others. When I add a prefix auto to biography, it becomes autobiography. Auto means self. So writing about oneself is called as autobiography. And in this, the great legendary independence fighter Nelson Mandela has written about himself, and this book is titled as Long Walk to Freedom. Can you recollect some of the autobiographies of our own Indian leaders? Think. Yeah, if not, you can look onto the screen, children. Our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, he wrote his autobiography, and it was titled The Story of My Experiments with Truth. And the icon of India, the most favorite president, our most respected APJ Abdul Kalam, his autobiography was titled Wings of Fire. And now in front of you, we have autobiography. It's titled Long Walk to Freedom. And whose autobiography is that? Yeah, it is the autobiography of Nelson Mandela. And who is Nelson Mandela? He is the first black president of South Africa. With this introduction, we will move into the lesson. Please move to page number 17. You can find two prominent paragraphs, children. I will here outline the gist of the paragraph, since we cannot go word by word as it would consume a lot of time. I will outline every paragraph. I will tell you what is in the paragraph so that I want you to give a detailed reading to it and understand it. So that is what you are going to do this day, because this day is meant only for English learning. Okay. Okay, now coming back to the lesson, the first paragraph. It says 10th May dawned bright and clear. So, children, there is an inauguration ceremony in process. The first paragraph talks about a ceremony. What function is it? An inaugural function. When did this inaugural function take place? 10th May 1994. What a coincidence. I am recording this on 10th May 2020. Wow. So, when is it happening, children? 10th May 1994. What is the function? It is the inaugural function of first democratic and non-racial government in South Africa. So, please put the tags there as I tell you. Next to the paragraph, you may ask a small question. What function? Put a question mark. When did the function take place? Put a question mark. So what do you get as answer? The function is, it is the inaugural function of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. When did it take place? It took place on 10th May 1994. So this is how you have to frame questions and get one word answer or one sentence answer. And this practice, children, is very, very helpful when you attempt extract type questions. And framing such questions and elucidating answer will help you understand the text better also. Okay, children? Fine. So the first paragraph talks about an inaugural function and it's taking place on 10th May 1994. And look at the second line. It says, for the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by the dignitaries. I. Who is this I? I is none other than Nelson Mandela himself. Remember, this is an autobiography. So it is written in first person. Okay, so Nelson Mandela is narrating about his experiences on the inaugural ceremony of South Africa's first democratic and non-racial government. He says he was besieged by dignitaries. Look at the word besieged, children. There is the meaning given there also. Besieged means surrounded by. Earlier it was not. Earlier it did not happen. It was the first time he was surrounded by the dignitaries and world leaders. It was some sort of privilege that he was given. Okay, so higher officials had come, world leaders had come. How many ever nations were there? The nation's leaders had paid a visit to South Africa to witness this inaugural function. So he was besieged by them. Besieged means surrounded. Now coming down to the second paragraph, you can ask the question, where did the function take place? So obviously a function has to take place in a venue. So where did the function take place? So the answer is in the second line, children. You can see the word amphitheater. The ceremony took place in the lovely amphitheater. Amphitheater is an official building. Again, if you move to the right, you can see the meaning. It's a building without a roof. Imagine, children, it's a building without roof with many rows of seats rising in steps. Can you visualize a gallery? Stadium, yeah. In center, players would play and it would be surrounded by the audience. A similar type of a scenario, but instead of players playing in the center, the official ceremony would be taking place. Okay, so to give you a better understanding, I'll show you the picture of amphitheater. Yeah, this is amphitheater. Towards your left, you can see the exterior look from the outside, how an amphitheater looks like. And to your right, you can see the interior look of the amphitheater. Understood, children? Now coming back to your lesson. So what is significant about this amphitheater, children? What is so important? Why is this place chosen for this function? Because all these years, this amphitheater was the seat of white supremacy. If you follow the fourth line, you can follow what I say. All these decades means a period of 10 years. All these years, this amphitheater had been the official building of the white South Africans. Blacks were not allowed inside. And now, today, what is the difference? It was a site of rainbow gathering. Rainbow gathering. You know, rainbow is made up of different colors. So symbolically representing that many colored people were there. People of many colors, people of many languages, people of different nations, people of different races. Everyone was present in this amphitheater. And what are they going to do? They are going to install. Install is nothing but inaugurate, to begin the South Africa's first democratic, non-racial government. Okay, children? So what did we see in this page? It is the inaugural function in progress. Many leaders had come to attend the function. They had paid a respectful visit to Nelson Mandela. The ceremony was going to take place in amphitheater. What is significant about amphitheater? It was all these days a seat of white supremacy, but today all the people were present without racial discrimination. Fine? And the next paragraph goes on to say, who were the people who swore in, who took their pledge? Let's see. So 3 people pledged. Who were the 3 people? The second deputy president, first deputy president, and the president of South Africa. So shall we read the names? Who is the second deputy president? Mr. De Klerk. Okay, you can see the reader and you can follow the name. So he was sworn in as the second deputy president. Then, who is the first deputy president? It's Thabo Mbeki. Thabo Mbeki. Okay, M becomes silent. Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as the first deputy president. And after these dignitaries took their position, who came to the podium? Yeah, it's our hero Nelson Mandela. He swore himself as the first black president of South Africa. What a historic moment, children. So here in the screen in front of you, you can see Nelson Mandela in front of the podium giving the remarkable speech. And here many flags are there to symbolize that leaders of different nations had been present at this swearing in ceremony. Yes. If you see this page, it talks about the people who took their post, and then it is followed by the remarkable speech of Nelson Mandela. This speech, children, I'm again telling you, I'm just outlining it. You have to go word by word, okay? The speech, if you observe, it is split into 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph, he recollects the human disaster, the extraordinary human disaster. Can anyone tell me what is the human disaster that was taking place in Africa? Excellent. It's called the apartheid system, racial discrimination. All these days, the human disaster that he mentions is the racial discrimination that was taking place. The pitiable state of the black in front of the dominant whites. And he recollects those days. Okay, and he tells us how he came, how the entire country came out of that disastrous system. And the next paragraph, he gratefully thanks the people who had paid visit all the way to South Africa to witness this grand function. Okay, if you go through the meaning of that paragraph is about his expression of thanks to all the leaders who had paid visit to South Africa. Okay, because they have given privilege to South Africa, and that is why they have visited, they have made themselves present at this function. And the third paragraph, if you see, he talks about the duty. He is happy they are free, but he feels it is not enough. So he says we have to pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty. So we can understand, children, racial discrimination is not the only disaster that was happening in South Africa, but that was the major disaster. Okay, now they are free from it. They have to concentrate on freeing themselves from the clutches of poverty, deprivation, gender discrimination, and all the other types of discrimination. Now they have to focus on removing all the tidbits of evils in the country. The major evil they had come over, and now they have to concentrate on liberating themselves from the minor evils such as poverty, gender discrimination, and suffering. And at last he closes his speech with a positive note that sun shall never set on. Can you see that phrase, children? Sun shall never set on. It means sun setting is a symbol of closing of the day, something ending. So he indirectly says that his human achievement, the human achievement that they had put in South Africa, will never come to an end. Sun will not set. It means there is no end to their achievement. So he says, let freedom reign. Reign here means rule, not raining from the clouds. Okay, REIGN, it's pronounced as rain. It means rule. So he wants freedom to rule, and he blesses South Africa, and he completes his speech. So far, did you understand, children? Shall we move on to the next page? So coming to this page number 19. Here he is recollecting the proud moments. And for this, children, you have to recall the celebrations that we have during the Independence Day or the Republic Day. What usually happens? Our leader will hoist the flag. The leader will give the speech, memorable speech, and then parade will go on, followed by which the three systems, the three forces will pay their due respects by their display. A similar happening also was happening in South Africa. So what happened? In few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South African jets, helicopters, and troops, carriers rode in perfect formation over the buildings. So what's happening now? The Air Force is paying its due respect by forming a chevron. You should see the word, look for the word chevron, children. CHEVRON. Okay, it's called as chevron. Chevron means a pattern in the shape of V. So the Air Force is paying its tribute to the leader by forming a chevron, allowing a smoke trail, of different colors. Then it is followed by the military system that salutes the president. And once upon a time, the same military system put him behind the bars. So he thinks about all such things and becomes nostalgic. And after this forces paying the due respect, national anthem was sung. He feels really, really happy. You know why? This time, two national anthems were sung. One belonged to the whites and one belonged to the blacks. For the first time in South African history, the blacks' national anthem was sung in the ceremony. So the vision of whites singing Kosi Sekulel I Africa, and the blacks were singing Die Stem. This was the name of their national anthem. He was so happy and he was proud. Then he recollects how the whites oppressed them. Even after becoming independent, it was piteous that the white Africans oppressed the black Africans. So he just recalls all those periods. So this is a slide on oppression, children. You can see to the left many white hands giving a punch to a black hand, one black hand defending against so many white hands. It's a symbolic representation of how a black was treated by the whites. And towards your right, you can say a black hand behind the bars. So lot of restriction for the blacks, no freedom. Wherever they went, the first privilege was given only to the whites. Okay, so these were some of the scenes during the oppression period. Let's move on to page number 20, children. Page number 20. Have you taken page number 20? Okay. Here, again, there are two prominent paragraphs. The first paragraph, he pays tribute to all the people who had struggled for freedom. You can, in other words, called as martyrs, because they were no more alive when he was swearing in as the black president of South Africa. So he very gratefully recollects, remembers their sacrifice, the struggle they had put forth to declare South Africa a democratic country. So he is fondly recollecting their sacrifices to free everyone from the clutches of the white Africans. And the second paragraph tells about his contemporaries, the people who were living along with him and were equally fighting the struggle, equally fighting the war. So he says, he pays his tribute to all the people who struggle for the freedom. And the right, you can see the pictures of the men who, according to Nelson Mandela, were people of extraordinary courage, extraordinary wisdom, and extraordinary generosity. They were the heroes according to Nelson Mandela. Could we have a closer look at them, children? Yeah. So it's Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Chief Luthuli, Yusuf Dadoo, Bram Fisher, and Robert Sobukwe. So these were the heroes according to Nelson Mandela. to the entire world. Nelson Mandela is the leader, he is the hero, and to that hero, these people are the heroes. Okay, so we have to just salute them. So this is what happened, children. In this slide you can see the African flag. So when they were oppressed, people started rising against the whites. Brave men and women born from this oppression had fought and achieved the freedom. So this is a glimpse of the freedom struggle. Next slide. Fine. Let's move on to the next page, children. Page number 21. So here in the first paragraph, he talks about the wealth of the country. Nelson Mandela is very proud of South Africa. He says it's a wealthy country. Wealthy in the sense, he doesn't mean about the diamonds and minerals beneath the soil. He actually means the people, the patriots who were very true to their nation. According to Nelson Mandela, South Africa is a very rich country, not because of the non-living things, but because of the living human beings who were very true to their nation. Okay, children? Then the next paragraph, he talks about courage. Please make a note, children. These are some of the regularly appearing questions in the board exam. According to Nelson Mandela, what is courage? So you have to define the exact words. I had just underlined it with red. You can just look into your textbook and make a mark. Okay, what is courage? So you have to quote the same words as it is given there, or you can put it in your own words also without changing the meaning. He says courage is not the absence of fear. Look at the words, children. He says, according to Nelson Mandela, courage was not the absence of fear, but triumph over it. Triumph means victory, success. It's not that you should not be afraid at all. You can be afraid, but only when you come over that fear, it's called as courage. That quality is called as courage. He says, brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. So according to him, he is a brave man who conquers fear. So this is what his idea about the courage and fear. So the next paragraph, he talks about hatred. What does he say? What is Nelson Mandela's idea about hatred, children? He says, if you go through the paragraph, Nelson Mandela says, hatred is not an inborn quality. No child is born with hatred. Have you seen any newborn babies with hatred, children? Or have you seen any LKG kids with hatred? Definitely not. So when you are in the innocent stage of childhood, you don't have hatred in your heart because it is not an inborn quality. But unfortunately, what happens? As you grow up, you learn, you imbibe, you take in this quality looking at others. And Nelson Mandela says, if you can learn how to hate others, then you should also learn how to love others. Now you have to give a counter action. Hate, love. So hatred is a negative quality, and how should you counter it? By expressing love towards others. Okay. So he says hatred is not our inborn quality. When a man learns to hate others, he can learn how to love them also. So it is all in the mental setup. Here in this slide, children, you can see a man has two obligations. What's obligations, children? Obligation means duties. Okay? A man has got two obligations. One is towards his family and one towards his country. Can you deny that? Do you have two obligations? Yeah, of course we have. Everyone on this soil has got two obligations. One is towards family and another is towards country. You should be a good member to your family and you should be a good citizen to the nation. But here, when you devote yourself into one role, the other role gets damaged. That is what has happened in Nelson Mandela's life also. He devoted himself to his country, so he could not get much time to spend with his family, because always he was in prison for one reason or the other in the course of the struggle. So he was a good citizen, but we cannot say he was a good family member because he spent much of his days working for the nation than for his family. Now, next page, children. This is the page actually, but these clippings will help you understand better the context given in page number 22. Okay? In page number 22, the first paragraphs talk about his childhood. He says, he recollects, when did I become a slave? Was it when I was a child? Was it when I grew up? Was it when I became a man? Was it when I got a job? Too many questions were there. And he says, when he was a child, he was absolutely free. He ran everywhere. He spoke to any person he wanted. He was absolutely free during his childhood. He doesn't remember any sort of restrictions during his childhood. But, you know why? Because child does not understand very serious things. So he felt his childhood was very, very free. And later when he grew up, he understood that every action of his was curtailed. People started restricting. People started restricting every action of his. No? What sort of restriction? It was there was no freedom. He could not go to the place where he wanted, even to the basic things like spending money or marrying the person he wanted. He could not exercise his free will or freedom. In the picture you can see, children. See, as a young man, he longed to freedom. He longed for freedom for himself, freedom to earn, marry, and start a family. So these are all basic things a man should enjoy. No, nobody should say no to it. But unfortunately, in South Africa, they had restrictions for everything for the black. Okay, so it was at this moment he decided that he should do something, fight against the whites, and make the country democratic. Okay, you can see the chain being freed and the birds flying is a symbol of freedom. Moving to the next slide, it's another scene of oppression. You can see a black sitting on the seat, and the other part of this, the minority part of this bench is allotted for the black, and the majority part of this bench is meant for the whites. Wherever they went, this caption was there, this tag was there: whites only, whites only, whites only allowed. Whites only no, can be allowed inside. Whites only can enter. Whites only can do this. Blacks are restricted. So this sort of tags were present everywhere. The blacks could not move in freedom. So there should be a breaking point, no children. How long people will suffer? This suffering will have an ending. When it crosses the limit, the suffering will have a breaking point. So it happened. Nelson Mandela became the reason for it. So this particular paragraph I explained to you with those pictures. Once again I am telling you, it's about childhood. This childhood, he did not remember anything about the slavery, but later when he grew up, he understood that everything, even the basic desires of marrying, spending money, earning, everything was curtailed by the whites, and this paved way for him to join the African National Congress. Okay, joining this, people fought together for their freedom. Move to page number 23, children. So this talks about the transformation after he joined. Okay, after he joined, how did he transform? Transform means, children, change. Changing from one to the other. When you boil water, it transforms to vapor. When you condense water, it transforms to ice. Okay, it's all the experience that it undergoes. When it undergoes burning, it transforms, it changes to vapor. When it experiences cooling, it transforms to ice cubes. Similarly, the struggles that he had underwent, the problems that he had faced, transformed Nelson Mandela from a silent person to a bold personality. These struggles transformed this law-abiding attorney to a criminal. This struggle transformed the family-loving man to a nation-loving man. So this is the transformation that happened as a result of all the troubles that he underwent in the hands of the white. Here, the last paragraph, he talks about the oppressor also. Oppressor. Who is an oppressor, children? A person who oppresses, who dominates, who puts you down is called the oppressor. And the person who experiences all this, the person who is put down, person who is being dominated, that person is called as oppressed. So the slave is called oppressed and the master is called as oppressor, to put in simple terms. Now you understand, children, who is an oppressor and oppressed? Yeah, oppressed is the slave and oppressor is the master. So he says, even the oppressor should be liberated. How strange, no? How can he be liberated? You may ask. He is already free. But according to Nelson Mandela, the master is not free. He is also under the clutches of so many evils called hatred, selfishness, greediness, etc. He is bound. He is tied. And that is why he is unable to free his slave. So he feels that even the oppressor should be liberated from the hateful mindset. So you can see in this last few lines, you can see both the oppressed and the oppressor should be liberated. There is a question based on this, children, so you should be very, very alert and you should be receptive also. He says, only if a man is free, he can free the other person. So that is why the question may ask why he says that. Because he feels that even the oppressor is bound by evil feelings of hatred and greediness. Only when they become free from those evil qualities, they can liberate the slaves. So he wants both of them to be liberated. The slave should also be liberated, and the master as well should be liberated. You can see here, children, it shows how kind is Nelson Mandela. His kindness even towards oppressors. His kindness is extended even to the oppressors, his enemies. He says, let's have a closer view of the picture. The oppressed was just another man. He is not considering them as masters. He is calling them, he is only another man. The oppressor is only another man. But what is the problem with that man? He is imprisoned by his hatred of others. So what is binding him? The quality of hatred is binding him. If he leaves that quality, he will be liberated. And if that quality goes away from that person, he will definitely liberate the slaves. He will not lay any restrictions upon others. He will not inflict pain to others. Okay? And in the second slide, you can see the symbol of freedom. So Mandela wanted everyone to be free, not only the black or his race. He wanted everyone to be free because he believed that freedom is the birthright of every living being. And now we have come to the end of this session, children. Have you all understood, children? Yeah, hope the explanation was satisfactory. However, you have to read it, children. I want you everyone to read the text. Okay, read the text. All the hard words have been given meaning in the side itself. Even without taking a dictionary, you can read it and understand. Okay. Number 2, I want you to do the book exercises. There are a few book exercises which will increase your vocabulary. For example, in page number 24, you have noun changed to verb. Okay. Then in the beginning of the lesson, matching the phrases and the meanings, matching the expression and the meanings. I want you to do all this so that it will enhance your language also. Okay, children? Number 3, you have to take your classwork, follow the link. The link is sent to you. PDF is there. Clearly it is given what you have to do. I want you to write the notes in classwork and you should learn it well. These are not the only question answers, children. These are only for the reference. We cannot give 50 answers, 60 answers. Can you manage? No. So we can give you only 10 to 12 or lesser than that. The other things, you have to read the textbook, and whatever question is asked, you should be able to answer. So very important thing is reading the textbook. And the next point, children, this you can take it as homework also. I want you to frame questions in such a way that you get one word as the answer. Frame questions in such a way that you get one word as the answer. At least 20 to 25 questions, children. This will help you to understand the lesson in and out. You'll be able to understand it thoroughly. If you frame these questions and get the answers, you'll be damn thorough with the lesson. Clear, children? Will you do it? Thank you very much.